Okay, guys, we're going to finish up number 8. And we're going to compare it to probably whatever the last one we did, which was probably number 4. You can see we still look almost exactly the same as we did last time, which is good. That's what you want. You want it to be very similar from cylinder to cylinder as far as your liquid and so forth. Our valve looks exactly the same. Now, remember, these are all the valves that they're actually going to be assembled with, okay? And through each port, and then through the intake manifold and carburetor. This one was actually, I think, our lowest flowing to date, but it was also one of the long runners in the upper plenum. So those are the hardest to even get to. Now, it's not bad on this sheet, 293, but our cylinder, our port itself was a hair shy of where we usually are. Plus or minus a few CFM is going to happen on something like this. I would say even on a CN seed head, you're going to get a few CFM discrepancy. Our bore looks pretty much like the other ones did. And we can see a little bit of blue on the right-hand side, looking right down its throat. Okay, we're going to compare our number 8 that we just did to the one before it. That was number 4. This is about where we've been maxing out. We've been maxing out right around 260. This one was a little bit lower. It's at 254.4. And it looks like it's a bit lower everywhere. And it is. It's just a few CFM off everywhere. I don't see any anomalies in the port or anything, but it's just not quite as efficient. As a matter of fact, I think I know where the issue is. I think the issue is the short side works a little too well, and it took some of our speed away from our roof. And that's what I think actually happened. As far as our swirl numbers, we're fine. We got plenty. Are they different than this? Yeah, it's a little more progressive. This was pretty much dead. This is actually that's actually the curve you really want. More like an LS3. Okay, through the manifold, the spacer, the carburetor, and the cylinder head, we can compare number 4 to number 8. Down a little bit, down a little bit, down a little bit, down a little bit, down a little bit. Actually, we're up right there. We're up a little bit there. We're up a little bit there. Up a little bit there. Almost exactly the same. But we lose a little bit more here. Lose a little bit more. It's not bad. It's 236 versus 227. Now, notice this is 227, 227.1, 227.5. It did peak in between there a little bit. But that's where it's starting to lose it on the short side and causing that problem. It's neither here or there. It'll work just fine. It's a little bit lower than I would have liked, to be honest, but I think this is our lowest to date. Okay. Look at this swirl curve, which is obviously different than the cylinder head by itself, versus this swirl curve. Well, this one is actually a bit low now. Okay. This I liked a lot, but this is a little bit low. This is right on the money, 1725. That's about where I'd really like to see it, to be honest. Let's take a look at our intake airspeeds. Okay, number 4 airspeeds, number 8 airspeeds. Very similar, right? They're right around where they should be. This one's a little faster, and this was a slower one, okay, because it had more air going across the short side. This one as well. Now this is all taken at 0.65. Move on to the exhaust. Okay, if we take a look, this is our number 4 exhaust. This is our number 8 exhaust. Very close. This one actually does a little better. It goes from 171 to 175. We got 194.2. We got 200 with a pipe. I only had, so far, this is the only one that's broken 200. And it's funny because, the ports as close as possible are as identical as I could make them. So it's always interesting when one flows a little better or one flows a little bit worse than the other. Now, I mean, heck, it could be the difference in the temperature. I mean, we got 64, we got 73. This one should flow more. Well, it does. But the intake flows less. Okay? Something to think about. Something to think about. Overall, the exhaust flow to our intake flow ratio on this is very high. So we have a very high exhaust flow to intake flow ratio. Is that necessarily bad? It's probably not bad for something you're going to rev to 8,500 RPM. All right, guys. Going to move on to the next one. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a good night.